Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to present this case. I'm going to present the case of a lady with a long-standing eyelash in the eye, resulting in corneal decompensation with neovessels and cataract. This 62 years old lady had a trauma 20 years ago, 25 years ago. An eyelash perforated her cornea, but she didn't check the help of any ophthalmologist because she didn't have any symptoms at that time. And she came to us because she experienced in the last 2 years decrease of the visual acuity. Eventually she was referred for corneal transplant. We noticed the diffuse corneal edema, corneal folds, and the presence of this eyelash, which is very well visible both on OCT and on UBM, attached to the cornea. What type of surgery? Of course, she needed combined surgery because she had both diseases, keratoplasty and cataract extraction. But what type of keratoplasty? Of course, posterior lamellar procedure would be the best one, but would I be able to see through this opaque cornea? At the end, I put her on the surgery table and I decided just to see it. Let's try DSAEK and Phaco. My standard is first Decimate removal under air, then Phaco and PCIOL, and then followed by graft preparation and insertion. But at this point, I noticed that neither after the epithelial removal, the visibility didn't improve at all. So I said, okay, let's start Phaco first under the standard technique under OVD. And then we will see. Maybe if I will not manage to see through this opaque stroma, I will convert it to PK after suturing the incisions, and we will see. Anyway, of course, I dye in the arterial chamber because it will be helpful both for anterior capsule and for the endothelial stripping visualization. And despite my fears, I was able to do a correct and round and well-centered CC under the dyeing, as you can see. So I'm more optimistic about continuing Phaco on this 2.2 millimeter incision. At this point, I need to remove the eyelash, of course, because otherwise I will push it with my Phaco tip. This is the eyelash, long and strong and long-standing. And let's start the Phaco, but it seems that is more difficult than thought, especially because most part of the Phaco we are working in the inferior half of the anterior chamber and of the bag, because you enter with the tip, of course, more or less in the center of the nucleus, and then you have to cut, performing a chop, and then to remove the fragments. One tip is when you deal with such opaque corneas, after you cut it by chopping in several pieces, just bring by aspiration the small cutted pieces, the fragments, towards the area where the cornea is more transparent. Like in this case, I withdrew a bit the tip and aspirate them under this more superior cornea, which is more transparent. I'm not worrying about the endothelium, of course, in this case. And eventually I managed to do a complete phacoemulsification with clean bag. And at this point I said to myself, I continue the DSAEK, but not implanting the IOL, because from this point I didn't want to have any more OVD, any OVD in the arterial chamber. It's safer. This is my standard technique, decimetrorexis under air. So I took advantage of the presence of the paracentesis, made the decimetrorexis with the inversed Sinski hook. I withdraw it. Again, as you see, the dyeing at the beginning of the surgery helped me a lot, so it's very nice for better visualization. And only after I removed the entire endothelium, I enlarged the paracentesis, the nasal paracentesis, at 2.7 millimeters, and I implanted one-piece hydrophobic IOL. It is a hydro implantation. Again, I don't want to have any OVD in the anterior chamber before injecting the lamella. And everything went well. Then we prepared the UT lamella. We aimed for, first, of course, let's not forget the peripheral iridectomy, which can be done in several ways. This is one of the way that I did it in this case with the reversed Sinski hook and forceps. The lamella was then prepared with the artificial anterior chamber microkeratome in the OR by the surgeon. We aimed for 70 microns, so we prefer ultra-thin DSAEK. And this is the eye at the end of surgery. Doesn't look that well, but the first day post-op, the eye looked really well. Attached lamella, air in the 2/3 superior 2/3 of the anterior chamber. The OCT looked very nice, a nice attached lamella. But the second and the third day, the eye came more inflamed with several vessels, neovessels. The haze was still present, but at 1 week the vessels went back a bit. The stroma became more and more transparent, let's say. 1 month post-op, even better. The image was even better. At 3 months, we only had this pigment, fine pigment around at the margin of the lamella, and at 6 months post-op, as you will see, the eye looked very well and the visual acuity was really very good, 0.9. Thank you.